once in a while, every few years, you get a really, really strong signal from the options market. And on Monday morning, before the opening, there was abject panic. And if you look at the last 40 years, every time you buy abject panic, a year later, you've made money.
I got to ask David,
Go ahead,
excuse
please,
me for interrupting. What does abject panic look like at Evercore ISI with Ed Hyman with a black marker in his hand? What does abject panic look like at Fortress Hyman?
Well, we know it looked like VIX hitting 65, but there was a very frank and open debate about whether the Fed was behind the curve and what should they do. And the consensus is that this too shall pass, and the Fed's going to cut in September. And lo and behold, if the Fed actually cuts in September and the recession, which there's still lots of elements of weakness out there forming, and we know that, if the recession holds off until 2025, we certainly think we have further to go in the rally.
Julian, you've written a wonderful note encouraging us to exercise calm at moments like this. How do we do that? What's giving you optimism that this too shall pass?
Well, I think this is, again, one of these very strange times where if you think about the Bank of Japan, their timing was absolutely awful.
Terrible.
In hiking rates. And the way I think about this, and it really actually makes sense allegorically, is when the Fed first hiked rates in December of 2015, and it was, oops, I did it again. They didn't hike for another year. You actually set off a freeze in the credit markets that was happening anyway because of energy. And then you had an incredibly strong year in 2016. And that's how we see the table setting up. It's pick away at the names and the themes that you like.
What do you say to those who are more pessimistic, shall we say, when they look at earnings from, say, these big tech companies, AI specialists in particular, and worry that the promise of this isn't meeting reality, at least not yet?
Well, look, adoption of AI on the corporate level is slower than we would have expected. But the way we think about it is and Tom, I know you'll remember this because I was there as well, but in the early 90s, you brought your own personal computer to work because corporate America hadn't adopted personal computers yet.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden they did. That's what's going to happen here.